we're rolling. Hello. Hi there. Thanks for coming in. Good to see you. So welcome to the Pride Nomad podcast or Pride Nomad show, whatever the hell we're going to call it. I don't know. We'll figure it out along the way. I am with one of my favorite people in the world. I adore this person. Her name is Lee. Oh no. The incredible Molly Mahoney.
And I'm here with, I was just going to make up a name.
Go right. No, that's fine.
And I am here with the amazing Ken Krell, who is, I know, I could have messed it up on purpose, but I didn't.
You could have. And see, because you could use this for your audience too, so you can make it fun.
So cool.
So yeah, it's awesome. I'm thrilled. So since people don't really have a context of all this, I want to lay a little bit in here, and I want people to know like who you are, because I'm not really sure who they are. You're just like cute and adorable, and you like dogs. So right, I know, and you like pink guitars.
Oh, and pink guitars, sparkles, sales.
Yeah,
being kind.
It's good, and it's fun. And it's funny because when I first met you, you were on the Marketers Cruise.
Yes,
yeah,
it's true.
And you got up there and you were like, "I'm Molly Mahoney. I'm with the Prepared Performer," and I was like, "Okay, who's she?" Because frankly, and I don't want to go public with it saying this way, but the Marketers Cruise is not typically where you find OGs.
Oh yeah.
Right, you know, it's typically a lot of the newbies and so on, which is why, and it's not really my audience anymore. But I went there for like 10 years.
That's amazing.
It's a great cruise. Yeah, it's a great cruise, and I love.
And it's super fun. I think also if you go with people that you're connected with, and you make your own little like pod and experience out of it too. And meeting awesome people like you. It
grew, and it wasn't the same thing. But anyway, that was my first experience of you, and then I learned. Holy shit, this woman is just like incredible. So tell my people that don't know you, like, who the hell are you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to handle. I can tell you that. So I started as a professional musical theater performer way back in the day. And then I was teaching singing lessons, which is how I first started my company, The Prepared Performer, back in 2013.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. And then when Facebook Live came out in 2016, rather than teaching performers to have a business, I started teaching business owners how to perform. And that was a very good idea.
Smart. It's really smart.
So we launched a program called Camera Confidence. And within 3 months, we had done $50,000 in sales, which was a really big deal for me at the time. So it's cool. Great. And then it's just grown since then. And as new technology has come out, I've really dug in. So the Facebook Live thing was really big. And then messenger bots were really big. And then when AI actually started happening well before ChatGPT, we started teaching AI and how you can mix your own human authenticity with AI and automation to really elevate your awesome.
Yeah. It's brilliant.
It's good. Thanks.
And I'm going to backtrack for a second because Chris and I were talking about you before you got here.
Okay.
And,
scary.
Yeah. And Chris was saying he's a theater nerd. And I'm like, I am too. I'm a theater queen.
I know.
And then he mentioned that were you on Broadway?
So it's always an interesting question because I did live in New York for 8 years. I was a singing waiter at Ellen Stardust Diner, which is actually maybe the biggest deal.
Wow.
It was so weird. And then I booked the first national tour of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. So that, we did rehearsals and everything in New York. And then we toured the country with a flying car. I got to meet Richard Sherman, which was so amazing. I got to do a movie with Dick Van Dyke, which was like the best day. I cried the whole way home because it was so awesome. But yeah.
That's
so I had
awesome.
lots of stuff out there.
I know it's like the past doesn't relate necessarily to today, but I was like, we have a gay audience. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, hello. And like, just for the record, that is like my only, I stand for a lot of causes, but my only real cause that I fully stand for is gay everything.
Yeah. Well, I noticed on your computer, you got a love is love thing.
Yeah. So everything in my life is like all, equity and all of that. So
it's an important value.
Yeah, it is.
Certainly.
And that's my way of like knowing whether or not you're someone I can actually like trust. Yeah. Because if you are against people loving each other, then there's something. That's
I've got no room for that.
Yeah, me neither.
And I cut a bunch of slack over a couple of comments I made relative to the next 4 years.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Well, and I think we're here to continue to stand for goodness.
I stand for love. It's funny, and as I say that, because back, I think 2015, 2016, I created a huge online event called World Love Week.
Okay.
We had like 55 speakers. We did it during the week of Valentine's Day.
Okay.
So
I love it.
So we called that World Love Week. I own worldloveweek.com. And so we didn't sell very much of anything, but it was all about how to infuse business with love.
Oh, that's so great.
It was really cool. Yeah, it was really cool. So yeah, I own that whole thing. It's great.
Yeah.
So we'll do more. I have a few other things in mind. So, but what I want to talk about today, is for people that are aspiring to be digital nomads, pride nomads.
Yeah.
we're dancing to two different tunes.
Okay.
Right. We're dancing to the tune of travel and travel passion, but also how do you pay for this? How do you pay for 6 months in Bulgaria or 6 months in the south of France or, or Bali or whatever?
Yeah.
So if someone's going to create a business, a location independent business, what thoughts do you have about that? Or even to that extent, how would they best optimize or build that business? Because you're in so many different things.
Yeah.
That, I like what would hit you as being the best opportunities now?
And this is dependent on, are you asking for like what kind of things should they offer? Or are you saying no matter what they're offering, if they want it to be a digital
Take
business?
It any way you want. Because I asked you 4 questions in one. Which
I know.
Which I was like, that was not how you should be interviewing. It's like, ask one simple question she can answer the question to. So answer it any way you want.
Okay. Well, I will say I love to travel as well. And, my experience on the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang National Tour is we were traveling every week. So I actually had a business on the side while I was doing that. I was making knit and crocheted and like handmade felt things that I was selling on like Etsy back then.
Wow.
And I was selling patterns. I sold a dog shrug pattern to Red Heart Yarn. It was the inside back cover of Crochet Today. So
wow. That's niched.
Not what I do at all anymore.
That's niched.
Yeah. But so I have a lot of experience with being on the road and building something that is something that can fuel both your passion and fuel your bank account. Yeah. So, I think one of the biggest things is figuring out a system for you that you can remain consistent with, especially when you're traveling. It can be like, how am I going to keep up with what I've promised to do? So if you're traveling and you may not have consistent Wi-Fi, don't promise to do something where you're delivering something every single day unless you know that you have time to schedule it out ahead of time, right? To like batch create content or batch create whatever it is that you're offering.
That makes all sorts of sense.
And the Wi-Fi thing is obviously important because if you're going to go somewhere for months where you have no Wi-Fi, you may be in trouble.
Oh my God.
So you may want to get some sort of hotspot or something like that. You can.
I'm remembering my days in Costa Rica when it was like dial up and it was horrible.
Yeah.
Couldn't do anything.
Yeah. It's wild. So, I mean, there's I think honestly, like affiliate marketing and things like that are also really great. So being someone that is delivering content and recommending programs or tools, but it's really about building that community and the trust that you have with your community. And if you're traveling and you're taking people on that adventure with you, it's a great way to deepen your relationship and, take them along on the journey, and people are going to look to see what's coming up next. So,
as I think about that, and I'm thinking, what are their objections going to be about that?
Yeah.
And I think the first objection is going to be, but everyone's doing it. There's so many travel influencers. But
well, yeah. So here's the thing is that you've got to figure out who you are first. I always say that your weird is your superpower.
Absolutely.
So figure out what it is that makes you weird. And that's really based on what you love and what you, maybe the thing that you feel a little bit of shame around.
Interesting.
Because it's actually something that probably other people are feeling or wanting to express as well. And so when you're brave enough to put that out there, it's a good connection.
Because people want to connect with who you are.
Yeah.
And nobody, it was the oh God, who said it now? I'm going blank on the it'll come.
Okay.
Be yourself. Everyone else is taken.
Yeah.
That
totally.
was God. I'm going blank, but it will come to me.
Yeah, I think I have a magnet of that, so I should.
Yeah, it's a great quote. Anyway, and this was a guy that was gay. That was it'll come back.
Okay,
but regardless, the point is that people are subscribing to our weird. If our color is gray, forget it. I mean, there's a guy that does some stuff on Instagram he's over the top. He is. Super nice guy, but I am not running around doing the shit that he's doing.
Okay.
But people love it.
Yeah.
So
and if your color is gray, like really go all in on gray. Like be like Eeyore and make everything like cloudy and whatever.
Sure.
Like,
because there's people that love gray. Period.
Yeah.
My mom is 90 years old. People love the Mom and Ken videos.
Yeah.
They just love that. And it's like my mother's like, really? Why? I'm like, because they like us, Mom.
You know what's a perfect example of this? Have you seen all the videos that Mandy Patinkin and his wife has been doing since 2020? Oh, you will love it. So, Mandy Patinkin is, So in case you don't know who Mandy Patinkin is, because you've been under a rock. Inigo Montoya in Princess Bride. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. But also, Sunday in the Park with George, like Che and Evita, all these other things, and Homeland, whatever. He, his son in 2020 just started interviewing him and his wife, and it is so funny and delightful. And sometimes it's just them sitting there and then he's asking them really weird questions, but their banter back and forth. At one point, there was a video that I loved so much that was him teaching her how to do Command V.
Oh no.
Because she was like, why isn't it Command P? I don't understand why.
Yeah.
And she's right.
Sure, of course she's right. Yeah, exactly.
Just like really funny, delightful, just regular life stuff.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing that when live streaming first came into play,
Yeah.
Joel Comm was notoriously made his first video. You remember
Yeah.
what it was?
Yeah. What was it?
It was bacon frying for 7 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
And people watched it.
He's such a big part of how I got started, actually, because when I launched my camera confidence program, he had a Facebook group that was about live streaming.
Yeah.
And do you remember the tool Be Live?
Yes.
Yeah. So Be Live, Daniel, who's the founder, one of the founders of Be Live, was in that group. And
Okay.
Joel posted like, oh my gosh, this tool will allow you to go live next to each other.
Yeah.
And so I freaked out. And I remember the first time I did it, I was in the car. My husband was driving and I had my laptop open in the car. But I ended up being on the team at Be Live for 5 years as their main like host of all their shows.
Wow.
It was really awesome. And that gave me loads of visibility. So that is actually another tip.
Yeah.
To partner with tools like that. And, as an affiliate with Be Live, that was great, but they actually ended up bringing me in as a part of the full team, which was just really awesome.
It's smart. And just for people that aren't clear what affiliate marketing is if I was going to sell Molly's program, which I will do, Molly will pay me a fee to do that, a commission to do that, a revenue share, depending upon whatever that is. And it can range anywhere from 20% for some, whether it's a physical product, up to 40, 50, 60, 100%, depending upon what that deal is, which is a great business.
Yeah. And then a lot of programs you can earn recurring revenue that way, because if it's a membership, like we have an AI content club, so we have a really great affiliate program for that. But with a lot of the tools, if it's recurring revenue as someone's paying for a tool, that can be a really great way to make money without having to actually do anything.
Yeah, and that's it's funny. I like that a lot. The model really works, and there's some things that I want to make sure we talk about with that. But before I forget, it was Oscar Wilde that said that quote.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. But on an affiliate side of things, so I'm not going to promote anyone or sell anyone's product that I either haven't used or don't believe in.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to be a part of Molly's AI club, but I can tell you what, I know this woman, if AI interests you, you're crazy not to be part of it because she's fucking smart.
Thank you.
And she's
cuckoo.
Yeah. Well, that's why I love you so much.
Yeah.
Right. So, but that's also, there's plenty of people teaching AI, but there's only one Molly Mahoney, and you make it fun.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to be promoting something like that, make sure that it aligns with who you are, because my preference is that you actually use the product. So
yeah, I agree. And it gets a little tricky sometimes with tools, because I'll use one tool and then I'll find out about a new tool and I kind of like both of them. And it's like, oh, what do I do? And then I like the people behind the tools, and then I'm like, oh, so I have to be careful. Just this morning we had a conversation about it, because with scheduling tools, we now have our own tool that we use called Star Funnels, so it's like I have to be careful to not promote two things that are conflicting, because it can be confusing to your community. So
we're building a scheduling tool too.
Are you?
Actually, yeah. Well,
That's
because
cool.
I won't say it because it's on the podcast yet.
Okay.
But I'll tell you later.
Okay,
It's
cool.
Gonna be really fun.
Yeah.
You'll hear about it. Don't you worry. But yeah, because it's going to solve a giant problem for those of us that travel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Giant.
wait.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. We're building it. Because I need to solve it for Kent, because it's crazy time.
Yeah. And I think that's also one of the best things, is if you're experiencing some sort of problem and you find a solution, then you would be doing a disservice to your community by keeping it a secret. And if you're going to share something with a community that you've curated and built, then that tool is happy to pay you, or that, the person who's selling that program is happy to pay you that affiliate commission.
Yeah.
So
all day long.
It's a good thing. Yeah.
Which is really important. But I like the idea. I mean, years ago when I was speaking for Harbecker, they were like, let's go out and sell his stuff. I'm like, I'm not selling his stuff until I've done his stuff.
Oh yeah.
That's like totally dumb, which
Yeah.
was also, that's why I could get to go for free. So it's like, I'm not going to promote you until I've done it. Okay. But that's made a whole lot of sense. Where now, in terms of where we stand in the scope of time, where do you think the biggest opportunities are? Because you're playing the AI game pretty heavily.
Yeah. And it can feel like to some people that the AI stuff is already like, you're almost too late to it, which is so not true, because the tools are changing so much so quickly. And like, sometimes I feel that, oh my gosh, I was on vacation and now I come back and everything's changed and now I'm not going to be able to catch up. But really, there is a chance with AI where things reset almost once a week. It's like all of a sudden there's a new opportunity because things have changed or whatever. So I think the AI thing is a really big deal. I think that helping with actual human connection and storytelling is something that people crave. taking people on experiences, like giving them an experience. And if you're traveling and you're able to source out these different locations, I mean, that's an opportunity also. So
yeah, the whole travel thing is so big, and, and it's funny. I see these people that are. It amazes me. When I see these. Okay, they're kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a little bit over 40. Okay, I'm a lot over 40. But
you're no older than 35. I'm sure.
Right.
You're welcome.
But there's these kids that are like in their early 20s, and they've got like 500,000 or more Instagram followers or Facebook followers, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And people are watching them.
And it's tricky because that can feel very intimidating if you are just starting. Like, well, no one's going to think what I'm saying is valuable because I don't have all the social proof and the 500 followers. But I think honestly, sometimes it's better to find someone who's just a few steps ahead of you because it's more relatable and they have more time to actually build a real relationship. Sometimes those accounts that have such huge followings, you're just going to get automation and not real people.
Well, that's my concern because we're building this big ass summit that we're going to do in February.
Oh, yeah.
It's called the World Playground Summit.
Okay.
And I'm inviting 75 different speakers.
Whoa.
Yeah,
okay.
It's going to be big.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be huge. And I've done this before. It's not like anything new for me, but I'm looking at people that have followings of 400,000, 500,000 and more.
Yeah.
And I know even if we get like 1% of those, we'll end up having anywhere between 24 and 80,000 people coming to the summit.
Wild.
Which how are we going to build this community? I'm looking at that. And this is the real deal.
Yeah.
So you'll find out about it as you see this. But we know that if you have say 500,000 followers, maybe 1% will be actually taking action.
Right. Or even see the content or whatever.
Which is why I'm like, or how real are the numbers?
I know.
But what I'm concerned with, and this is real for me, is so we're launching the YouTube channel. And we're building that up, and that's what this content's for as well. But I don't have the biggest numbers yet. I've been known for years in my own community when I was Russ Whitney's biggest senior speaker and all this for years and years, but I'm still relatively unknown outside of where I was. So the same question I'm going to ask you is, how do I build my business? But moreover, for our listeners and our viewers, they're starting out with not a whole lot. And what would be the best either tool, which was subject to change, of course, or methodology that would get them from zero to hero is always, but zero to something that's manageable and tangible that makes sense.
Yeah. So we always start with figuring out who you actually are as a human and what makes you weird, that thing that we talked about, right? And then getting really clear about exactly who you want to serve. So you're clear about who you want to serve in this community. I think it's like bringing the two niches together is also really awesome, but knowing who that person is. And if you're in a place where you're not exactly sure who you want to serve, just make a list of all the places that you are connected to people. So we call those awareness playgrounds. And
I like that.
And with your playground thing, it's cool, right? So this could be in person, like you are connected to an organization or a networking group, or it could be a specific Facebook group that you're connected in. It could be like a restaurant that you go hang out at, and you know that there's people there that you connect with. It doesn't have to be something massive, but start to recognize these awareness playgrounds and start to play in those playgrounds. So when you engage in a Facebook group or when you comment on someone's YouTube video, it's telling the algorithm, oh, this person is in this type of community, so we should show their content to more people like this. So that's something to start doing now. Just start sprinkling those connections through the algorithm. And then when you're creating content, we always start by basing our content on what we call the tree of beliefs. Have I talked to you about this before?
No.
So we want to instill beliefs that get people to take action.
Okay.
Usually these are what we call buying beliefs. I think I learned this from Rich Sheffrin back in the day, but I changed the name so it sounds a little cuter.
Right.
But so the tree of beliefs covers why me, meaning why the human that you're serving. And the problem is a lot of people skip that. Like for you may jump straight into, here's how to be a nomad, whatever. But really, the person doesn't even know that they want to travel. They just know that they've got like an itch for something, that something just feels off. So to do some sort of video that matches where they're at in that why me, maybe their kids are now in college or something, and now it's time to travel. Maybe their parents have recently passed away and now they're feeling the call to go do something new on their own, whatever. But like, what's the catalyst before they start to become a nomad traveler?
Sure.
Could be a totally different thing, right? So why me? Why this would be like why the stuff that you're actually teaching and talking about. Why you, meaning why Ken?
Yeah.
And so that's where we're going to learn more about you. And then why now is like, why now in the terms of what's happening in the world? There's a lot of that going around these days. Why now in terms of holidays? Why now in terms of some sort of special that you're doing?
Yeah.
So those beliefs. And then we have a whole bunch of others, but those are like the main 4 beliefs we want to focus on.
Yeah.
And then with YouTube and things like that, you can look for keywords and different things too. But there's a lot of different paths you can go down. We're
going to want to have, because as we start getting to close this thing up, we're going to want, and we can't do it. We can't teach all this stuff inside of a, inside of a short podcast, but I want people to have that experience of learning this stuff.
Yeah.
And I want, we'll put together a special deal for my
people.
Yeah.
So
that was like, that wasn't even asking. I was like, we will do a special thing for my people. Because they need to know that there is a solution.
And it can feel overwhelming. And with AI, even if you're using AI, it can feel like, what am I even supposed to ask? So we have a whole series of like prompts that we teach and tools that we give in our content club that literally you just answer like 3 questions and then all of that stuff I just explained gets done for you, which is crazy. And then you get to show up and actually be the human who puts your own spark on the foundations.
Yeah, and we are sparkly.
Hello.
So and the thing about it is we need to celebrate that. We need to, even if you feel shy. I said that the other day, or 2 days ago. People were like, can't you write anything but shy?
Good luck with that. Yeah.
Like last night, no, not so much. But for those that do feel shy, to understand that even that, in that level of authenticity,
it's endearing, and it can really be better sometimes than someone who's way over the top and in your face.
I can't, for people that are over the top, I can't relate to them.
Yeah,
because to me they're not real.
Yep.
Because that's I want somebody who will, like, we're talking straight out. We're not. There's no aspersions.
Yeah. Like sometimes there's a lot of affectation and pretense that just feels so like, what's happening?
Slap them.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to like just have a real conversation and be real and be vulnerable and acknowledge, okay, I'm scared of this. This freaks me out, or that's great. I love that.
Yeah.
And not fake it.
Yeah.
Because I've done fake it for years, and it's just not right.
No.
And so to have a level of authenticity, that's where it comes from. And even when, and I've been learning this more recently, even when we do expose that to our audience, they fall in love with us.
Yeah.
Because years ago, you'll appreciate it. We'll kind of close that with this. So I was doing real estate stuff for Russ Whitney on stage.
Okay.
I was like their top speaker 3 years.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And anyway, but I had a bankruptcy when I was 23 years old.
Okay.
Years old. Yeah. And I was so ashamed of it. It was like horrible. So I'm teaching and I'm talking about all this stuff, and I'm pretty self-confident on the stage and all this. And I had somebody in the audience one day say to me, how would you relate to us? You don't know, and whatever it was, Mount Vesuvius was ready to erupt. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, and I told the story, and we sold like a son of a bitch.
Because so good.
Right. Because they could relate.
Yeah.
And from that point forward, I would tell that story. Now I've got double. Because after the great crash, I had to go again.
Oh my gosh!
Because I'm a high achiever.
Yeah.
But that, when people say to me, I haven't got the money, or I've got this or that, and then I'm like, let me tell you, I get this. And they go, oh, okay. If you can make that work, I can do it.
Yeah.
And it's happened to me so many different times. I had somebody, and this will be important, and we got to close up.
Okay.
Because we have dinner to go to. Is I was doing a personal growth thing.
Okay.
Some weekend, and I came as a friend with a friend had asked me to come. So anyway, so this one person was saying, how can you relate to us? Blah 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 blah. And he's talking about suicide and shit like that. I'm like, dude, you have no idea how many times I've thought of killing myself.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I'm doing a downward dog at a yoga studio in Fort Lauderdale. I'm thinking, how am I going to kill myself during a downward dog? And I thought, that's hysterical. Like, are you kidding me? But, and of course, I didn't even attempt. It's not that I failed. I didn't attempt.
Right.
But the thing is, if we're in pain in our lives in any way, well, what are the options to stop the pain? Well, there's one way that stops it permanently.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that vulnerability, they're like, holy shit, you get me. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are scared to show that part of the business or their experience. And I think there is a risk of going so far on what you're sharing that it's like, it becomes gratuitous and then you're not actually being authentic anymore.
Right.
So
Right.
I'd actually love to continue this part of the conversation on my new podcast, which is called Authentically Awesome.
Oh, girl,
so
I love that. I'm
yeah, because this is like the kind of stuff that I want to get into to really identify what authenticity even means, because I think there's a sliding scale with it.
And with that too, the entrepreneurial side of things, how many relationships are fucked up because, and that being a technical term, of course.
Yeah.
Because that's how I get to throw words in.
Yeah.
Because people aren't balanced and the relationships are shot to hell because they're not present for their spouse or significant other. And when you're traveling, that adds a whole nother component.
Totally.
To it. So yeah, there's a lot more to do, but we gotta have dinner.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
will you come back?
Sure.
Goody. Mahoney, I adore you. Thank you so much for doing this. I wish we had more time.
I know. Thank you.
But we'll do again. Listen,
we will.
If you want to hook up with Molly, we will have links in the description here and so on.
Hey, I'll even sneak you a trial of our content club. Do you want to do that?
Oh.
It's usually you have to pay for it, but I'll sneak you a little trial.
We'll get you a coupon code or something, so it's like you're linked to us. All right, I'll tell you the real reason why we're going to do that, so as we can track where they've come from. That's why we're doing it this way. To be clear, okay? We've got to teach them everything.
Yeah,
right.
You got to do that.
Yeah. All right. This is great. We love you to pieces. PrideNomadLetter.com. If you're not subscribed already, we got to go. Bye.
Bye.